Before we start the show, just a word from our sponsor, Undeniable Press. For all your screen printing needs, located in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan. If you ever need any t-shirts or any other little promo accessories, posters, or whatnot printed up for you, go to Undeniable Press. They're located, once again, in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan, and you can reach them at facebook.com/undeniablepressdetroit. And those same guys who do Undeniable Press also have a clothing line called 20 by 20 Apparel. It's very much wrestling themed, all sorts of nostalgic themes in regards to the history of wrestling. And you can go check out their clothing line at 20x20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. Now let's start the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it them all. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. Until I'm running out of breath, or tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to another Beats and Body Slams edition of Fresh is the Word. I am your host, K Fresh. And like always, we have a great show for you. But before we get into all that, I definitely want to remind you how you can help out the podcast. If you go to freshisthepodcast.com, go ahead and share any links that you see on the page that you might like on any of your social media. That'll definitely help. There's a link at the top of the page that says support the podcast, where there's a PayPal link you can donate to. And there's also an Amazon link you can use. Anytime you want to make any purchases on Amazon, use that link on the website, and they'll shoot some commission back our way. It won't change anything on your end. It'll just shoot back some pennies our way. And also, you can follow Fresh is the Word on Twitter and Instagram at freshisthe1. That's Fresh is the Word, then the number 1. And then on Facebook at facebook.com/freshistthepodcast. And you can also subscribe to Fresh is the Word on all sorts of platforms. iTunes, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, TuneIn, Google Play, Stitcher. Just search Fresh is the Word and it'll pop up. And you can go ahead and subscribe, and it'll automatically be downloaded each week. Get a notification when it's up, and go ahead and subscribe to it. Give us a rating if you want. 5 stars would be great, and give us some kind words if you dig in the podcast, which I hope you're digging the podcast, because I've been giving some great content each week. So for this new edition of Beats and Body Slams, my guest this week is the current reigning and defending Rockstar Pro Champion, and the first woman to hold this honor, Nevaeh Crist. We get to talking about her pro wrestling career, and definitely about what it feels like to be a woman in indie wrestling, and holding this championship with the Dayton, Ohio-based Rockstar Pro Wrestling, which I've attended many of their shows, and it's awesome. After we did this interview, she actually came to Michigan and became the women's champion for Clash Wrestling. So she has 2 belts right now at the time of me posting this podcast. So it's definitely cool to talk with her. And afterward, I'll be joined with my Beats and Body Slam discussion segment co-host, the Noveliss, where we'll talk about things going on in New Japan, indie wrestling, among other things. So first off, let's get to the interview with Nevaeh Crist. All right, we're here with Nevaeh Crist. She's currently the Rockstar Pro Wrestling World Champion. And from what I hear last night, you're not only the reigning champion, but now the defending champion by defeating Samantha Heights. You're the first woman ever to hold this crown. How does it feel to be in this position?
Uh, this is such an honor. It's something I feel like I've been working 12 years for. It's been a long time running, and not many women have been able to be the main title holder for companies that are up and on the rise. Because Rockstar is definitely a company that's up on the rise, becoming well known.
Yeah, definitely. Like, along with your current Rockstar Pro reign, you've had notable title reigns in Shimmer and WSU. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and throughout the years, recently, women in wrestling have progressed so much, and there's been more opportunities. While there's more ground to cover, do you feel like there has been this significant shift for women in wrestling over the past few years?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For women to step foot in the ring with men and be held at the same level as them is something that is completely different from day one when I started until now. It's a completely new era for women's wrestling. It's exciting. It just brings so much more. It's like we have all these same opportunities now.
Right. And before, yeah, you were talking about, all the time that you've put in over the years as being a pro wrestler. And there's been a lot of women putting in work for years now, even during, the lulls of the industry. And then now you see them being picked up by WWE, Stardom's picking them up, Ring of Honor's picking them up, Impact's picking them up, among other companies. Do you feel like there's this new motivation out there for women in pro wrestling to just, really give their best at, every event, every show, every moment?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, hands down. There's no greater time to be a part of it. And I don't know, it's definitely, for me personally, it's extremely more motivating. I feel not necessarily pressure, but lack of a better word, I feel more pressure on me to perform to the next level now, more so than I did 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. When you're going into these matches, where maybe like a title is involved, and like how does it feel when you hit the ring? What's going through your mind? What do you think about during those times?
When it's your your title matches and your bigger companies, so to speak, there's definitely more nerves that come with it because you're given this huge opportunity and you want to capitalize on it. But for me, it's a little bit of nerves, kind of your stomach's a little bit in a knot.
Right.
But as soon as my entrance music hits, all of it goes away because I realize no matter what level I'm on, I'm not going to forget how to wrestle.
Right. And I feel like with Rockstar Pro specifically, I feel like everybody that's a part of that company, are not only making the company great, but they're all working together to make everyone individually better. Whether it's you, Jake, Chris, Sammy, Zachary, everybody else. Everybody kind of while they're working hard to be better themselves, they're working together so that everybody can get more and more opportunities everywhere else. Why do you think it's important that you have this sort of communal group effort to get everyone over instead of just sort of thinking about yourself?
Well, to me, when it's a group effort and you pinpoint people's strengths and weaknesses so that you can work on them, vice versa, and help them, overall it makes the show better. Better show, more exposure, more notoriety. It gets everyone's names out there as opposed to just a few who are dominant in it. As a whole, it just helps. It helps the entire company, and it just helps the wrestling business because then the wrestlers that Rockstar is helping to build go on and help to build the next generation of wrestlers. So overall, I think it's just something that it takes two people, well, three if you count for us, to have a great, just standout match. Nobody wants to get in the ring with someone who isn't a good wrestler.
Right.
So to up everyone's game, just up the company, the exposure, and wrestling in general altogether.
In comparison to the other places that you've wrestled, what's sort of like, from your perspective, the energy like being a part of Rockstar Pro?
And for me, it's a very crazy feeling because it's my hometown. I'm born and raised in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I have done, I've left the country. I've done Ring of Honor. I've done Shimmer. I've done Shine. I've done all of the, top independent companies in the world. But for me, my nerves are the strongest at Rockstar. For me, it's more of, this is my home. This is what I need, to prove to these fans that I am, the best female to come out of Dayton, Ohio. So for my energy and my mindset for Rockstar is up there, or if not more, for the same as if I was working, a Ring of Honor or a TNA or, Shimmer. So for me, it holds a special place.
Definitely. Yeah, outside of Rockstar Pro, you're most notably known for your time either in CZW or Shimmer and Shine. What's sort of like your memories with those companies? What really sticks out during your time working on those companies?
With Shimmer, I will say Shimmer will probably always be my absolute favorite place to go. You just get to be around so much talent, and when I came in to Shimmer, I barely had my hand in the wrestling business. I was very young, and I was lucky enough to be among so much talent that during my first couple of years in Shimmer was when I just really was able to learn and absorb and just kind of get an understanding of what it means to be a well-rounded wrestler with all of the different styles and everything that goes on. And then, of course, to be one of the first ever Shimmer tag champs, no one can take that away from me. That is something that I will always remember. Probably, as of right now, it is one of my top all-time memories for wrestling.
Right.
It's one of the biggest honors I've ever had.
Right. When you were in Shimmer, learning the business, sort of, was there anybody that you really learned from, looked up to, someone who really helped you out during that time?
I think for most girls, it goes to say that when you're at Shimmer, you're definitely, in the time frame that I came in, you were definitely looking up to Sarah Del Rey. You were definitely absorbing everything Allison Danger had to say. Lexi Fife was another one who is very, very good for, giving advice and helping you along the right way. And then I also was lucky enough to form a friendship with Rain, and Rain really helped me kind of figure out what I needed to do to separate myself.
Nice. Coming up, I see that you, and I'm really excited for this match because it looks really cool. August 4th, the Catalina Wrestling Mixer, Wrestling Revolver, Rockstar Pro. It's you, Jessica Havoc, and Sienna versus the whole Ohio Killers crew, Dave, Jake, and Sammy. 6-person tornado tag. I love these intergender matches in the indie wrestling. They're always so much fun. Do you like getting down with the boys in these types of matches every once in a while?
I do. It's definitely fun to mix it up because as opposed to working a man and a woman, you get to have such a different style of a match. I will say this match will probably be the biggest one to date for my career because, let's face it, Sammy, Jake, and Dave are really among the best in the world right now. So if I can get in the ring with them and even hold like a candle to the light that they shine, then I think it'll kind of solidify, for me, it'll solidify who I am as a wrestler. I feel like I'm a little, and I think, a lot of people do feel like they're kind of underrated because of what they've done.
Yeah.
I feel like a match like this is going to really give me a chance to show what I can do.
Right.
So, but being in the ring with some of the best in the world, there'll be the nerves and the match is going to get a lot of exposure, so it's going to be, under pressure. But I'm most definitely looking forward to that match. And then, to tag along beside my best friend Jessica Havoc, and then, Sienna, who, is obviously doing well in the Knockouts division with TNA.
Right.
So it's just going to be all around amazing.
Right, that's gonna be a hell of a tag team for you, man. Like Jessica and Sienna are, been all around the world and stuff, and so it's gonna be a fun tag match.
Oh, absolutely.
How did you originally break in the business? What was those first steps that you were able to take?
It was actually back in high school. I knew a few people who were interested in independent wrestling, and they drugged me on to a few shows. And I was extremely, extremely athletic in high school as far as like varsity lettering my freshman year, basketball, softball, I did all of it.
Right.
For me, watching it was something completely different. It was just a different form of athleticism. And to me, it showcased something where you definitely had to be able to think on your feet. So, being the cocky little high schooler that I was, someone was saying, oh, I bet you couldn't do that, bet you couldn't do that. And I was like, you know what? I bet you I could do that. And I started with HWA and just fell in love with it instantly. It was such an adrenaline rush and such a full addiction. I call wrestling a sick addiction. For me, we drive 10, 12, 20 hours to wrestle for 10, 15 minutes, to drive that distance home, but then you turn around and do it right again.
Right.
It's an addiction.
Right. What sort of a kid were you growing up? What sort of things did you do? What did you do to have fun?
I was every parent's dream, other than my mouth. Horrible mouth. Horrible mouth as far as talking back.
Right.
But I was your straight A honor student. I'm the youngest of 7, so I came from a huge family. Straight A honor student who everything to me that was fun was sports. Everything sports. I'm talking I would be performing at halftime football on a dance team, a drill team, and as soon as that was over, run down to the other end of the field and play my soccer game. I was just active, go, 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 go. So, all my friends were included in sports. And as far as, we did a lot of family stuff, family vacations, that kind of stuff. But I was just your typical little tomboy who just wanted her hands on every sport that she could.
What was your favorite sport to play?
Basketball. Oh, I love basketball. I played on traveling teams, AAU, Dayton Lady Hoop Stars. We had a lot of exposure with that. We had a stint where we did a diversity thing on the Disney Channel. We did a lot. So I was doing a lot of traveling even before independent wrestling.
Great. Who's your favorite basketball player at that time?
Oh, Michael Jordan, like everyone.
Oh.
But I was also a huge fan of Larry Bird. My dad was a huge fan of Larry Bird, and I was introduced to him young, and then John Stockton.
Oh, all right. Great, yeah. Yeah, I'm up here in Detroit, so I was always a fan of the bad boy generation.
Right.
Definitely. Also, a part of this, another main subject of this podcast is music. Are you a music person? What sort of music do you like to listen to?
I'm a huge fan of Prince, actually. So I'm a huge fan of Prince and Bruno Mars, and then Fall Out Boy, Queen, that kind of stuff. Anything with a really poppy, upbeat kind of music for me.
Nice. So you and Jake always party into Prince then?
Always partying to Prince.
Were you lucky enough to see Prince live when he was still alive?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh man.
Yeah, that would have been something.
Right. Definitely. I never did, but I always sort of resolve it in my mind. Okay, I didn't get to see Prince, but when I was a teenager, I did get to see James Brown and Little Richard at the Michigan State Fair.
Nice.
So
I used to always go to concerts with my father. I was full-blown daddy's girl. So it was stuff like the Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Jefferson Starship, all the 50s and 60s bands. Those were my concert goes when I was younger.
What was the first concert that you ever went to?
Jefferson Starship.
Yeah.
I just remember. Yeah, there was a song, and I remember looking at my dad just going, you like this group, and all they're singing about is dirty dishes or something, and he just thought it was the funniest thing ever, that all I could figure out for his music at, 6 or 7 years old is, Dad, they're singing about dirty dishes. That's all I could take away from it. I couldn't take away anything else from the concert other than, really, dirty dishes? I don't understand why they're singing about those. No one likes them. That was my first one.
That's funny. When you kind of look back to your whole wrestling career at this point, what's your favorite match? Is there a match or two that sort of sticks out in your mind?
Um, I got to wrestle Serena Deeb, for a New York company, and Serena came in around the same time as me, and I felt like we had very similar mindsets and very similar styles, and it was such a competitive match, but it was one you walked away from battered and bruised going. That was one hell of a match and one of the funnest times for me being in the ring.
Definitely, definitely. At this point, what do you hope to, do in the future? What's your, hopes and goals as a professional wrestler at this time?
I think it's everyone's dream to make it as far as like WWE, TNA, which would be, that would be great. That would be up my alley. But as of right now, I think I'm going to more so focus on getting overseas. I was only able to do it a few times, and now that my daughter's older, it's time to sneak away a little bit more,
right,
and venture out.
Right. Where did you wrestle overseas in the past?
I was in Mexico for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I unfortunately had to turn down quite a few tours when I first came in because, unlike most people, in the wrestling business, I came in with a daughter already.
Right.
So when I was getting all of these offers, I had a 2- and 3-year-old to take care of, and I had to turn down so much. And I wouldn't change that. My daughters are my world, but now that it's something where that's something I really want to venture back into. I had a tour lined up for England and Germany with me and Jake, and then, found out we were pregnant with our second and had to, cancel that tour. And so now it's time to jump back in full swing.
Outside of, just maybe having to turn down tours or whatnot, just maybe domestically, how do you deal with, trying to be a wrestler and trying to be a mom?
It's hard because wrestling takes everything you have. It's a lifestyle. It's not just, I'm a wrestler. It's a full 100% committed lifestyle for someone who is, willing to commit and wants to go far and isn't just doing it as a hobby. But for me, I always have to put my girls first. Hands down, no matter what, I don't have an option to put my girls first. And so that does take away from some things I would like to do in wrestling. But as far as how I was raised, my family values, my family and my girls come first.
How old are your girls?
I have a 13-year-old and an 18-month-old.
Okay, all right. Does the 13-year-old, like, wrestling, like that you're a wrestler? What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, she loves it. Especially when her friends find out that her parents are professional wrestlers. She lights up about it. She thinks it's the coolest thing in the world to see.
Right, it's cool now,
and she
yeah.
still very much, looks at it like, oh my God, my parents are awesome. Look what they can do. Look at that.
Right. It's cool. It's cool to have parents that are wrestlers. It's it's like having like superheroes like as parents.
Right. And I always tease her because we'll go to a wrestling show and, well, can I bring this friend with me? And I'm like, well, we'll need to talk to their parents. You have to understand, wrestling isn't just a normal life for everybody. This is completely different. People look at it differently. She's like, oh, yeah. Because for her, it's just so normal. There's nothing out of the ordinary about her parents, throwing on some spandex and jumping in a ring.
Right. Have you had any opportunities to go to Japan yet?
That is the one I haven't. I have been offered Mexico, China, Australia, England, and Germany, and not Japan.
Oh, I'd love to see you in like Stardom or Wave. Like I'm obsessed with Stardom right now. Like I have my Stardom World subscription, and I just I'm going back and just watching all the archives. It'd be great. Like, yeah, your friend Jessica Havoc's in a lot of it recently, and she's great.
Oh, she loved it.
It looks like it's so much. It looks so much fun. And you got like wrestlers in there that are that sound like they're gonna be picked up by WWE, like Kari Hojo and Io Shirai. So that company is really dope. So it would be dope if if you were able to get some matches in Stardom.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is definitely something to look for.
Great. Well, that's about it for the interview. Congratulations on being the Rockstar Pro Champion. Good luck with all of that. If anybody wants to check you out online, buy any merch, more information about you, where can they find you?
I have a pro wrestling tee store. If you just go in, type Nevaeh, my shirts will come up. My Instagram and Twitter handles are at Nevaeh, OI4K, and then I also have my Facebook, which is just Nevaeh Crist.
Awesome.
So you can hit me up on all forms of social media.
Great. Thanks for chatting with me.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So that was my interview with Nevaeh Crist. It was great talking with her. And now joining me for the Beats and Body Slam discussion portion of the show is my co-host, pro wrestling fan, anime and comic book connoisseur, Detroit hip-hop artist, 1/4 of Clear Soul Forces, the Noveliss. How you doing, bro?
Yo, what up, man?
Dude, some sad news, earlier today as we're recording this from the hip-hop world, man. We lost Prodigy from Mobb Deep.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man, I know.
This hurts, man. This one hurts.
Yeah, that sucks. I actually was talking about it earlier, like, if I had to pick, like, one album that over time has got, like, the most play in my car.
Right.
Since I've been, like, however years old, it would be Infamous, like, by Mobb Deep. Since I got a car, since I was, like, 16, that's probably the album that I've played the most in my car. I actually was just listening to it in my truck, like, a couple of days ago. My group, we were blessed enough to play a show with Mobb Deep in Germany, like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I never thought that'd be the last time that we would cross paths with them. So that's definitely sad, man. That sucks. Mobb Deep influenced a lot of New York sound, and then it was unexpected too, so that sucks.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. Like, yeah, the Infamous was always one of those albums that just continued to just stay around, stay at arm's length with me. It was always on any of my iPods. I always have it. I had it on like every format. I had it on cassette. I had it on vinyl. I was always listening to it. It just always stuck around, And then as I kind of got older and just kind of studied it more, you just realized what a perfect album that actually is, and how good and how much it was just well made. It was just like, holy crap! It's just like the vivid pictures that Prodigy would rap about, and
it's just a classic. It's a classic, and it's a quality, street album, and it's still got those those hip hop, those good hip hop joints on there. The joint with Q-Tip.
Yeah.
It's a classic. It's a perfect. It's as close as you get to a perfect album, out there.
Yeah, there's nothing wasted on that album. Everything, every song, even the interludes, like.
Even the interludes they're perfect.
They fit into like what they were trying to say, and it was just like, and it's crazy that those like dudes were like 19 years old. They
were young.
That
young
album,
as hell, making a classic ass album.
Making an album that was that heavy, because there was nothing glorified on that album. Like when even then,
street stuff.
Yeah, even then when a lot of hip hop, there was always something that was glorified. Like on any hip hop album, that one you look at it and you're like, yo, this is some real shit. There's like they're actually painting some like really grim and bleak shit going on, and not glorifying it in any way. And that's what's made it timeless. That it's
and it was exactly. It was just like to not glorify stuff. It just made it real as hell. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely one of the best albums ever, and that's probably in my top 10 favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, it's really sad, that Prodigy passed. He's like he was so unique, and it's just like it's crazy that like I said, they were so young, and now he passes away at 42. You look at everything that he did a lot of music, you know, in those years, you know,
Yeah,
and
a lot.
so much of it is, you know, still relevant, you know.
And he
So
was young. I mean, he was so young still. Like that's a lot older. That's a lot younger than than I thought they were. You know what I'm saying? 42 is. I thought he was kind of older than that.
right,
So
but they started mad young. Even when they, you know, dropped that Juvenile Hell album, man, they were like,
yeah, they were exactly
they were kids, man. When they dropped that, they were like 15, 16,
right.
man. So like that's crazy. They started young, and was dropping all these albums like when they're 19, 20, and early 20s that were just so heavy and beyond their years, you know. So like, yo, it's
Exactly.
crazy, man. So yeah, definitely, like, you know, all the, you know, thoughts and prayers go out to the, you know, friends and family of Prodigy. Definitely, you know, positive thoughts to Havoc. You know, that was his man's. You know, they went
Yeah,
through a
Ski
lot
Beats
together.
too, man.
So damn, that's crazy.
No, right. Definitely Ski Beats too, man. I know he's been with them a lot. He's their tour DJ, so
Yeah,
and I'm cool with Ski, you know. And I texted him earlier, you know. I just told him, you know, I'm sorry, man. I know it's heavy on him too, because they've been on tour like nonstop for the last few years, you know, all over the world. So
right.
he's been around them a lot.
Yeah, it sucks, man. There's before we get into some other stuff, there's a other sort of notable death I wanted to bring up on this podcast. It was Chandler Biggins. He's the co-owner of AIW Wrestling. He passed away
Oh
earlier this year,
wow!
or earlier this week. Over like maybe past
I
day or
saw
two.
that too.
Yeah,
AIW on
yeah,
Ohio, right?
yeah. And
And,
he's been fighting with his health past probably a couple of months. He's been out of the hospital, countless procedures, and it finally, you know, gave out. Man, he passed away earlier this week. I've enjoyed you know, over the past year or two, the, you know, AIW, their events. I listened to their podcast, The Card's Going to Change, and like Chandler Biggins is one of those like super just wrestling fans, man. He loves wrestling, and he just like
right.
he wears that on his sleeve, you know. He's like the mark of the mark, you know. He's like those type of guys that just loves putting on these shows, you know. It's like it's his life, you know. And he you know, he breathed a lot of positive energy into those into that company, into the to their events, you know. And a lot of people had a lot of great things to say about him. So it's definitely, you know, another
Yeah,
sad loss for, you know, the indie wrestling world, because he was like definitely a character.
definitely. And he was a big part of the indie scene too, man. I've been to AIW before. They always put on good shows. So that's another, yeah.
Yeah, they gave a lot of great opportunities to, you know, people that you see on the WWE programming now.
Yeah, Johnny Gargano came
Yeah,
up in AIW, man.
yeah, that was like his home base, you know. And
Yeah,
they gave a lot of great opportunities. They always had a lot of great stories on their podcasts about people that they've had to deal with and shit. It's really, if anybody wants to hear great stories about indie wrestling, check out AIW's The Card is Going to Change. It's a really fun. Just go back and listen to the archives, the ones with when Chandler was on it, and the rest of everybody else on there. And they have some really funny stories, especially the funny stories about dealing with New Jack.
I heard that dude was crazy as hell.
Oh, dude. Dude.
That's funny.
Dude.
I heard he was, you know, a nutcase at basically.
Basically,
I'm gonna
yeah.
have to check. I'm gonna have to check those out.
Basically. Yeah, the last time that me and you talked, it was after the Super Juniors. Kushida won the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. So he was able to get a junior heavyweight title shot at Dominion, and he ended up, you know, beating beating the ticking time bomb, and getting the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, and it was definitely a dope match, man.
Yeah, it was, man, and I think I said this last time. Kushida is having one of the best. I mean, it's the best year of his career easily, but I think he's having one of the best. Like, he's got to be at the end of the year when you talk like MVPs of wrestling. He's got to be like top 3. You know, he's having an amazing year. Like, this dude won Best of the Super Juniors. He won the title, the Junior Heavyweight title back. He's the Ring of Honor Television Champion right now. Like, he's had like a lot of good matches. Like, I know the match with Ospreay got 5 stars from Meltzer. I would have gave it 5 stars too. I think that's one of the best matches of the year. Top 5 for sure for me. His match with Takahashi at Dominion, where he won the belt back, that was a good ass match. He had a match with Taguchi at in the Best of the Super Juniors. That was a class. Like, he had like probably like 3 or 4 matches in the tournament, in the Super Junior tournament, that were, you know what I'm saying, great.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, he had probably like 4 or 5 matches that were, you know, incredible. So he's having one of the best years. He's definitely like one of the MVPs in the industry this year.
Yeah, definitely. And coming up right now, New Japan's in the middle of their Kazuna Road series of shows. And coming up, he's actually going to be defending his junior heavyweight title against Los Ingobernable de Japan's Bushi on the 27th. So that should be a pretty dope match.
Yeah, I know you already know I'm a big Kushida fan. I like Bushi, but I got kind of mad when because you know the way the crowd is out there, they kind of get mad when like the baby faces do things like you know how he do the straight punch at Ospreay.
Yeah. And
you know his little punch he does, and they don't like things like that, you know, and they kind of started booing him when he did it. And then I didn't like when Bushi came out. You know, they kind of turned on Kushida a little bit. You know, when he came out after the match, when he was talking, he spit the mist in his face.
Yeah. And
they went nuts for Bushi, you know, and I felt like they kind of turned on Kushida real quick, and I was like, oh, come on, man.
See, and I was saying this the last time, man. Like, the ladies out there love, man, Los Ingobernables, man.
They do. They love them for sure.
They love them, but yeah, like they're that heel faction that just people like really love. You know, they're getting.
Oh yeah.
They're getting more of that attention that like the Bullet Club got like a couple years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
They're getting that cool heel, you know, cheering, you know. So that's like yeah, it's crazy that like Bushi does get those sort of you know, those gets the cheers when he's doing heel shit.
Right. They do, and it's and especially in Japan, because they're real. Like I said, they're real partial to the way they treat, you know, their baby faces, and I would probably say Los Ingobernables are some of the only heels that really get that massive like positive reception from everybody. Bullet Club kind of gets it, but not all of them, you know.
Right.
Like select members of the Bullet Club, like they like Young Bucks, they like you know, Kenny.
Yeah.
But you know, they don't like everybody. They like Marty. I'm
yeah.
not, you know, I told you before, I'm not the biggest Marty fan. I think he's good, but I don't know. But yeah, but Los Ingobernables, man, they're like unanimously like loved out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and at the Dominion event, Naito went against Hiroshi Tanahashi with his beat up Intercontinental title match.
That bill was trashed by then, so
but
I'm glad it got out of his hands.
Yeah, Tanahashi ended up
like shit.
And that's crazy. Tanahashi, like he won that match with a submission using the Texas Clover hold.
Yeah, he made him tap, man, and he was wrenching that shit back too.
that shit was crazy, man.
It was. He was definitely wrenching that shit back hard as hell.
Yeah. As a whole, man, that the Dominion event was actually
Dominion was one of the best. That was one of their best shows. You know, that might have been their best. I mean, Wrestle Kingdom was really good, but
Yeah.
the only thing nobody that I wanted to won at Wrestle Kingdom. So I'm kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm kind of like that pay-per-view. Even though we got a lot of amazing matches at it, like Kushida lost, Kenny lost. You know, just my people didn't win. So I'm kind of feel some type of way about Wrestle Kingdom. But Dominion, you know, was more. My people were winning. You know, Young Bucks won. They lost at Wrestle Kingdom too. So Dominion was like better for me, in my preference.
You know what's crazy about the Young Bucks, and it like totally goes against like, you know, anybody who doesn't like the Young Bucks and like sort of is critical about them being spot monkeys and everything. That match against Roppongi Vice, they didn't do any super kicks during that whole match, and they ended up winning using a sharpshooter.
Right, and I think obviously, you know, I think they did it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? But I love that though, you know, because I mean, if you ask me, in terms of like skill, the things they do, personality, like the whole package, I'm gonna tell you that Young Bucks are the greatest tag team ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a big Young Bucks fan, but for them to go out and win a match like that, you know, when people are so critical of them and call them spot monkeys and whatnot, I think it's dope, you know, that they kind of can throw that in people's faces, like,
right.
You know, fool, we want a title match in New Japan, you know, not doing any super kicks, like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and they did it in such an old school way. They kept on working on the lower back of Rocky Romero, like throwing him into the pole and on the apron, and then they ended up putting him in the sharpshooter and he submitted. I'm like, dude, that's such an old school like wrestling.
It's such an old school build, you know. It's such a good old school classic story to tell, and during the match. And I mean, the Bucks they're phenomenal athletes, man. You know what I'm saying? So again, for them to win a match like that I love it.
Yeah, that was just I just noticed that. I was like, man, there's no super kicks. They did it in such an old school way. I'm like, yo, like I love when they tell that story in the ring and then just sort of like purposely don't go through like that. That's the one thing with the Young Bucks. Like on some like the other nights when they can, you know, have a little bit more fun with the matches or whatever.
Yeah, Kenny's the same way, you know.
Yeah,
he's involved in all those 6-man tags where he's kind of goofing around a little bit, but you know, when it's time for him to have the big time match, this dude is amazing.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of you know, Kenny Omega, the main event that night, you know, the big rematch between Kenny Omega and Nakata, like
oh my god,
geez, like it turned out into a draw and it was amazing. Like there was like holy shit. Like, watching this in the build and everything was so amazing.
Like, yeah, man. I watched it live and I mean, I loved the first match, but this one I think it was better. I would probably have to say that might be the best match I've ever seen in my life. I've watched a lot of wrestling.
Right.
And that match was, and it was incredible. And it's easily the best 60-minute draw ever. You know, but when you look back at I grew up when I was a kid and I used to rent all these old wrestling videos when I was a kid from Blockbuster, you know. So I've seen the Flair and Steamboat matches from '89. And it's like Okada and Kenny Omega are doing what Flair and Steamboat did, you know, in '89. In '89, these guys, Flair and Ricky the Dragon had these dudes had 3 5-star matches against each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. That's amazing. I'm pretty sure that's probably the only time that's ever been done. And now you look at Omega and Okada, and these guys have 2 6+ star matches with each other. Like, That shit's insane. And they might do it again, when they have another match. So,
Right.
I mean, it's incredible, man. It's like it's got to be one of the greatest. The stuff they're doing it's untouchable. I mean, this is the best wrestling that I've ever seen in my life. From these two guys, this has got to go down as one of the greatest rivalries ever.
Right. Right. And each time I'm like both of these matches, I'm sure in my head, I'm like, yeah, Kenny Omega's going to win this match. Like both times. and I'm like, no, he loses the first one, then they go into a draw, and I'm like, this story is amazing. It's beyond my thoughts.
It is, man.
I'm like,
and nobody, like, Kenny is so amazing at telling the story in the ring. Like this. So the way that this story has been is that Okada is just like, and this is why New Japan is the best promotion in the world. So this story has been that Okada is just this unbeatable champion, right? So he starts off, he's indestructible. Kenny Omega doesn't respect him, thinks he's better. Wrestle Kingdom, they have an amazing match. Kenny gives him everything he has, loses, right? But he weakens him a little bit, then Suzuki Gun comes back at New Beginning and Suzuki destroys his knee, right? So he weakens him a little bit. Then he has a match with who did he fight after Suzuki? Was it Shibata?
Yeah.
He fights Shibata, and Shibata almost kills him, right? And then now he's a little bit weaker again after that. Now he's got Kenny. Kenny gets to fight him when he's been weakened. He's been weakened so much that he should be able to beat him. But now instead of losing, he still doesn't beat him, and it's a draw. You know what I'm saying? And Kenny gives him everything again, and it's a draw. So now the story should be that Kenny gets him again when he's finally been beaten to the point where he can be beaten, and Kenny beats him, right? Now, the thing that I'm worried about is that Cody Rhodes sneaks in after he's been weakened to his final point by Kenny at Dominion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then Cody swoops in, wins the belt. It would be a dope story because now you got Cody coming out, who came out to throw the towel in, and you can kind of do, Kenny versus Cody. And now you got like the Elite beefing, like splitting up, beefing with the Bullet Club, which I think would be cool. But I really don't want anybody to beat Okada except Kenny.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Like nobody deserves to beat him except Kenny.
Definitely.
Nobody.
And one of the most poignant parts of this last match between them was that moment when Okada was going for the Rainmaker and Kenny just.
Oh man!
Just
and he
falls
just collapsed
over.
from.
Yeah.
That was one of the best. That's one of the best things I've ever seen in wrestling. Like he dodged the Rainmaker off of just being completely exhausted, and he just passes out. That shit.
Right.
That was amazing.
I saw that. I'm like, dude.
And Kenny does so many things that He just does a lot of stuff better than anybody that I've ever seen. Like little stuff, I love when he does the front flip fireman's carry, and then he does the moonsault.
Yeah.
And before he does it, he's like, you cannot escape. You know what I'm saying? He's always in character, all the time. And even small, you remember the first match at Wrestle Kingdom? He killed Okada with that dragon suplex off the top rope.
Yeah.
And it's they never did it this time, but he teased it the first time and he didn't really get a reaction for it, right? So then he kind of puts it off a little bit. Then he exaggerates the hell out of it, he's yanking his arms back, like he's really about to do it this time, and then the crowd starts freaking out. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. Dude just gets it. He's an amazing wrestler, man.
Right, man. Yeah, he's really a master of details, and even outside of these matches, when he's just in these other matches where he's being kind of goofy and stuff with things, like you see these little things that are just very entertaining, or just the speed in the ring, or there's so many like little things that he's able to just use to make these matches so good, you know, whether it is something that's important or just something for entertainment.
Right.
Man, it's crazy, man. So yeah, I'm super psyched to see where like this goes next, you know, because it's like we're in the middle of this like great crazy story, man. And it's like,
yeah, this
shit
has been
spoils
one of
us,
the best years for New Japan.
Yeah, this shit spoils us, man. It's hard to watch other wrestling after you watch some shit like this.
Man, I was just telling my girl that the other day, like it's, you know, I just seen Dominion, and then it's like I'm getting ready to watch the Monday Night Raw, and I'm like, man, I don't even want to watch this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I can't even watch this shit after watching that. You know, and it's like in New Japan, not only are the matches, you know, incredible, but the booking is so on point all the time. You know, it's not predictable. You get it, but you get it though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, somebody you want to win might not win, but you'll get why they didn't win. You know what I'm saying? Or you'll get why the other person won. Like, if the booking isn't predictable, but it still makes sense. You watch WWE, the person you want to win won't win, but then you'll be like, well, then why the hell did he not win? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this shit doesn't make any sense. Like, the WWE's booking sucks, and it's like you watch New Japan, you don't get mad when the person you watch WWE, you get pissed off when the person that you wanted to win loses because that's just shitty booking. You watch New Japan, person you wanted to win loses, but you get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a huge Kenny Omega fan. When he lost at Wrestle Kingdom, I got it. You know what I'm saying? I understood, so I wasn't mad. He has a draw at Dominion. The match was incredible. I wasn't mad because I get it. I wanted Shibata to beat Okada at Sakura Genesis, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't mad when he lost, though. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, because I get it, you know? But it's like AJ loses the title to John Cena at Royal Rumble. Fucking why? So Cena can have his 16th title and then lose the shit again, and then have Bray Wyatt lose the shit again, and then have Randy Orton lose the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit didn't make any sense. Like, he shouldn't have lost the belt. And now he's in a damn WrestleMania match with his general manager from fucking SmackDown. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, their booking makes no sense.
Right. Have you seen the details for the upcoming New Japan G1 special here in the U.S.?
I did, man, and I am praying that we get a Jay Lethal versus Kenny Omega match. I'm like praying for that shit. I'm a Kenny Omega fan, but I want Kenny to win any belt, but I want him to be the champ. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
He's in the tournament, and it wouldn't even be the final match, I believe, the way the bracket is set up. I think they would meet in the second round if they do fight each other. So
yeah, I think so.
I want Jay Lethal to win it because I want him to wrestle in Japan more. But if we get him Kenny Omega versus Jay Lethal, that would be the shit.
Yeah, and it looks like that first night they're gonna do a Okada versus Cody match for the title. Yeah,
and Cody's also got I told you, man, I'm scared, man. I don't want him to win that shit because he's got a Ring of Honor title match coming up too. You know, and I believe if he were to win, he would be like the first person ever to have both of those belts at the same time. So I really don't want him to win this shit. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that could happen with this G1 special come to California. Yeah, and it's crazy that
man, I wish I could go to that shit.
Right, because and this will be like the first time that we.
Kenny's been in this,
in the States
but
in
I don't
a while.
think Kenny is like never in the States either. So
right. And it's funny though. On the second night, they're actually going to be doing an Intercontinental title match between Tanahashi and Badass Billy Gunn.
Oh, I know, that's such random. I've seen that on there. I saw that on there. That's super random.
What?
But
Well, they both gonna have like they should both have like a an air guitar contest, you know,
they should.
or
That
whatever.
would be funny. That would be funny as hell.
Yeah, and it looks like they're
And
gonna
then,
be that second night. They're
who
gonna
else
be
is in it? I know Saber Jr.'s in it, right?
yes, the first night. Let's see what this is the match breakdowns for the first night. For the U.S. heavyweight title, you got Juice Robinson versus Zack Sabre Jr.
He's grown. He's grown on me too. Juice can get down, man.
Yeah,
I like him.
his experience here out in Japan has been really good for him. He was because at one time he was in
He was in WWE, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in NXT as
Okay, yeah, he's in NXT for a minute.
Yeah, he was under the name C.J. Parker, I believe, and he actually trained with over here in Michigan with
Oh wow.
at the House of Truth with Truth Martini. So
Okay.
yeah, so he was trained by him. So yeah, going to Japan, being part of New Japan has been really great for Juice Robinson, and he's been getting better and better. It's been pretty awesome. Also for the quarterfinal match for the U.S. heavyweight title, Jay Lethal versus Hangman Page, and then
He's a good wrestler too, man. He does that damn shooting star off the apron all the time, and that shit is like amazing.
Yeah, and then we also have Tomohiro Ishii versus Naito, and also Michael Elgin versus Kenny Omega.
You already know that's gonna be a good ass match.
Oh, that's gonna be fire, man. Oh man, it's gonna be a good ass match, man. That's gonna be
Elgin's another dude who I really like. He's incredible too. He's fucking strong as hell.
Right.
I've seen him live a bunch of times,
Oh,
and every
yeah.
time I see him, he's amazing.
Every match I've seen Michael Elgin, you know, where I'm actually at the event, man, I'm just amazed. Like, I think
that deadlift, like Falcon Arrow that he does off the top rope, like that shit is incredible.
Yeah, you were I think at the AAW show that I ran into you.
Yeah, he wrestled
Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, that match was amazing.
Dude, that was one of my favorite matches all year.
Oh, the year? Yeah, I had that on my like top 50 matches.
I was like, I was so amazed to see that live, man. I was just like, holy. But like every time I see Michael Elgin, it's like he is such a great worker in the ring. No matter who he's one of those guys that can make whoever he's working with look better. He
had a real good match with Naito earlier this year.
Yeah.
I think it was Meltzer gave that shit 5 stars too. I thought it was a really good match. I don't know if I would say 5 stars, but it was definitely like I remember watching it like, damn, this is actually like one of the best matches of the year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was unexpected too. I didn't expect it to be that good, but it was like a really good match.
Right. They New Japan also just announced that for this year's G1 Climax that Ibushi's coming back, you know, to New Japan to be a part of that, and also Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be a part of it also. So that's gonna be.
I love them. I love that. That's gonna be. I wonder who's gonna win that. Naturally, I would want Kenny to win, so he would. But you know, I really like how they have to defend the briefcase, you know.
Yes, so, I love that.
I wish WWE would do that with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yes,
but,
I've been saying that ever since I started watching New Japan. I was like, dude, why don't they do that for the Money in the Bank briefcase, man?
Right.
Like
it would be so much better if they just did that with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Like the other year when Sheamus had the briefcase and he had it forever. I was just like,
man,
I was so like just so annoyed by all the teases of it and everything. I was like, dude, why don't they just let?
If the right person doesn't have it, it gets like annoying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it would be great if they actually had to defend it like they do with the winner of the contract from the G1 Climax. So I'm like, dude,
right.
I wish they would do that in WWE. That would be fucking awesome, man.
It would. So I mean, even if Kenny doesn't win it, I would like to see him win the contract at some point. You know, that would be cool. Because I actually, honestly, for Kota Ibushi to come back, I would love for him to win that shit. You know, he's been wrestling as Tiger Mask, you know, W.
Yeah.
So he still gets down, you know. So I would love to see him, you know, return and win that shit. And then, you know, come on, man, Kenny Omega versus Ibushi for the contract, that would be fucking awesome. You know,
Ooh, yeah.
used to be best friends and shit. That would be a good story.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like that would be so perfect given their history and everything, man. Like all these years, man, just culminate again with them going against each other. Man, I'd love to see that. So definitely excited for this year's G1 Climax. Lot of good stuff going on in New Japan. I'm excited. Wait, one other person. Okay, I gotta find what this guy's name is, but it's one of the. Did you see like it's one of those the young lions that they have earlier in the matches? Did you see the big?
Oh, okay.
Do you see the big dude that has the vampire fangs?
I did not. I didn't see that.
I gotta find this guy's name, man. He's awesome, man. I'm like, this guy needs to be.
Oh shit, I didn't see it. Yeah.
Oh, his name's
Check it out.
Katsui Katamura. This guy is awesome.
Okay.
He's like a big dude, like he's like super muscular, but he has these like vampire fangs.
Oh yeah, I gotta check that out.
That dude, I can't wait to. I hope he like gets better, gets green and everything, and because that dude can be like a cool ass dude, man.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
He's pretty awesome, man. All right, before we wrap up this edition of the podcast, I always like to ask you, you know, what you're checking out in the world of, you know, both anime and comic books.
Hey, yeah, man. I think the last time you asked me, nothing's changed, man. I've just been really messing with My Hero Academia. I was really just watching the anime mostly, but the anime is it's moving too slow for me, and I'm super into it. So I started reading the manga, and that is the best. That's like the best anime manga that I've messed with in like a long time. So people really need to check that out. And
which one was it again?
You said what?
Which one was it again?
That's My Hero Academia.
Okay.
It's the new shonen. It's the new the new big shonen anime, and it's shit is real sweet, man. It's like it's already one of my favorite shows that I've watched. So that still messing with the Iron Fist series that's out right now is the reason I like it so much is because it's got that classic kung fu element to it, man. The going to the mystical island for the tournament. It's got that game of death, Bruce Lee feel to it. So that's dope. Still reading the Darth Maul story too. The Darth Maul series that's out right now. So still messing with the same stuff.
Right. Yeah. I over this past weekend, I just like bought like so many different comic books. 'Cause I went out to Grand Rapids for a show, and I ended up stopping at Vault of Midnight.
Vault of Midnight, yeah, that's a real good comic book store.
Yeah, and I found a few things. There's this one I bought. It's called Stained, and I'm still not understanding what the total story is because it's like the first issue, but it's basically about this woman who's like she's like a headhunter, and she goes like. Captures these criminals for the police and everything. She gets paid to do it.
Okay.
But there's but it sounds like she's in this sort of society where she's almost like she might be like a cyborg or something. I'm not like, I don't know what her thing is because she kind of looks like a cyborg. So I'm still need to like research what that exactly is.
Okay.
But the first issue
and you
is
said,
kind of cool.
What's it called?
Stained.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on one one, the Independence. Looks like
The Dark Horse?
no, 451 puts it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I bought a ton of stuff like online from Zenoscope, all the Grim Fairy Tale shit and everything. So I got a bunch of those. I just love getting those.
Right.
And I picked up this. There's this new series of Love and Rockets that's out. That they're doing. So I need to check that out, see what that's about. But I got like this whole pile. I'm like, I need to start reading them and everything because I keep on buying more and shit.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what
I do that all the time, man. You know, you just buy stuff and you don't get around to it.
Right. I got all these different things. There's this one thing I need to check out too. Have you seen the Marvel Divas?
No.
Comic book? Yeah, it's called Marvel Divas. I bought I bought the whole pack of all 4 issues. And it's like all these women like superhero there's like 4 of them, and it looks like they're all like I gotta look into them, but it looks like they're all black characters also.
Okay.
So that looked cool to me. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna pick that up and try and check it out. Looks really dope. It's called Marvel Divas, So
all right.
I need to check that out. I need to read those and see if that's cool and everything. But besides that, I haven't really checked out any of the any anime or mangas lately. So I've been a little slacking on that lately. I got so much stuff to read though in regards to comic books that I'm kind of right there.
Definitely mess with the My Hero Academia, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of Naruto and Hunter x Hunter and Dragon Ball, those shows, and this kind of has the same. It's way different though. Like it's nothing. The plot isn't anything like those kind of shows, but it just the characters, the main characters, they have that. He's got that that classic shonen main character. So that's dope, man.
Yeah, definitely. All right, that's about it for this week's this episode of Fresh is the Word. Noveliss, where can people find you online?
Yo, you can follow me on Twitter, man, at the Noveliss, TheNovelliss. Follow me on Facebook, just at Noveliss, Novelliss. You can get all my music, man. I just put out a new EP, Bill Instinct. It's free. You can download it, noveliss.bandcamp.com. And, follow me on Instagram at NovelissCSF. And follow my group, man, on Twitter, Clear Soul Forces. Everything is at Clear Soul Forces, all our social media. So follow us, man. Check our music out. Check my music out. And peace.
All right, great. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
All right, brother.
Fresh is the word.